This tutorial is for 4th grade, Module 3, Lesson 36. In this lesson, we're looking at the area model of multiplication and how it relates to area. The first problem says write the expressions shown by these area models. So I have one rectangle that shows all the squares that make up the rectangle. The second rectangle is just showing the dimensions of the sides, and we'll see how those are related. If I look back at my first rectangle, across the top here I see 10 columns and another section of 2 columns. Along the side there are 10 rows and another section of 4 rows. So you can see how the first rectangle is related to the second rectangle. If I figure the dimensions on my second rectangle, I know that the first rectangle is a 10 by 10, so 10 times 10 is 100. That tells me there are 100 squares in this part of the rectangle. In the next section, I know that that's a 10 by 2 rectangle, so there are 20 squares in that portion. Down here I see I have a 4 by 10 and a 4 by 10 over here. 4 times 10 is 40, so there are 40 squares here. And then finally I have a 4 by 2 rectangle. 4 times 2 is 8, and you can see there are 8 squares there. So the two rectangles are identical. They're showing us the multiplication problem, 14 rows times 12 columns. Now we can drop down and see how that relates to the distributive property. So the first thing we did was we took 10 times 10 for the first rectangle. Then we took 10 times 2, and down here we took 4 times 10, and then 4 times 2. We then found the product of each of those. 10 times 10 is 100, 10 times 2 is 20, 4 times 10 is 40, and 4 times 2 is 8. I just need to combine those products to get my final answer. 100 plus 20 is 120, plus 40 is 160, plus 8 is 168. So 14 times 12 is 168, and that's the area of the entire rectangle. We're going to do a similar thing on this problem, except we're not going to use the grid, and we're going to write our partial products vertically. The problem is 22 times 14. I'm going to start by writing my 22 in expanded form along the side. 22 is the same as 20 and 2. Then I'll write the 14 across the top as 10 and 4. Now I just need to find the product in each of these rectangles. The first rectangle is 20 times 10, which is 200. Going across I have 20 times 4, which is 80. Then I take 2 times 10 for this rectangle, which is 20, and 2 times 4 for the last rectangle, which is 8. Now I'm going to move over and write those products vertically on my multiplication problem. I'm going to start with the 8, because that's what I got when I took 4 times 2. Then I took 4 times 20, and I got 80. I took 10 times 2 and got 20. And 10 times 20 and got 200. I can add all of those, and I get a final answer of 308. So 22 times 14 is 308.